Hello, welcome to this week's book review video. Today we're going to be discussing a very thoughtful and a very intriguing novella that I've been thinking about for the last week, and that novella is Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky. In this world, humans are seen as little more than objects. They are commodities to be used to further the goals, ambitions, and pleasures of their ogre overlords. It is a telling critique of feudalism, slavery, and capitalism, and it is a very interesting depiction of the power struggle between the haves and the have-nots. It sounds very political, and at its core, this is a very political read, but that is not even the most interesting part. I have never read a book written in the second-person narration style, because you, the reader, are the protagonist of this story, and the narrator is telling the story about how you became a hero that changed the world, that changed everything forever. It is very inspirational. At times it reads like a very fiery political speech. At other times it reads like a motivational TED Talk. And it has one of the best depictions of being red-pilled I've ever read in literature. Being red-pilled means you've essentially encountered a truth that changes the way you view the world. Because at its core, Ogres is the story about a man who comes to see the world for how it truly is. And once you know the way things truly work, it is impossible to go back to the way things were before. Ogres is a very short read. You'll finish it in perhaps 4 hours or so. But while you read it, you will encounter the full spectrum of emotions. It'll make you think about very deep and sometimes disturbing topics. Because this book really describes how, even though economic and political systems may change, power dynamics never change. Those who have power will rule over those who have little power. And they will do it in as selfish and oppressive a way as they can get away with. And sometimes this book reads like a rallying cry for revolution. Because sometimes you can't change the system. You must overthrow it. I want you to think V for Vendetta meets The Matrix meets the Communist Manifesto. If it seems like that doesn't make sense, when you read it, you'll kind of understand what I'm getting at. One trope and theme that's becoming a lot more prevalent in modern day fantasy and sci-fi is the blurred lines between science fiction and fantasy, between magic and science. Because what is science to someone who can't understand it? It seems like magic. And this book walks a fine line, does a very good balancing act between sci-fi and fantasy. And I always appreciate that trope. I love that trope. If I was to voice one complaint about Ogres, it is that the ending is quite abrupt. This book, even though it's only a few hours long, is a bit of a slow burn. But the ending is very abrupt. I feel like it wasn't exactly foreshadowed. I mean, I look back on it now and it makes sense. I feel like this book would be very good in a reread. But the ending isn't the most satisfying. But it's also a very honest depiction about how revolution and how formative change really happens. And it's true to character, even if it isn't the most emotionally cathartic experience. So this book sacrifices a thoughtful, cathartic ending for an ending that makes the reader really think about the world that we live in. And sometimes literature isn't just about entertaining its reader. It's about educating its reader. And Adrian Tchaikovsky really decided that this book was an opportunity to educate its reader about things that have to change in our world. And I think he did it very well. I really enjoyed Ogres, and I'm starting to understand why Adrian Tchaikovsky is one of the most well-acclaimed science fiction authors in the modern day. And I'm very interested to tackle more of his works. Thank you for watching this book review video. If you liked it, push that little thumbs up icon. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear me talk about any other books. And I'll see you guys next time.